Hey, Mustang's Dungeon Master here. I just wanted to present to you the lesson for the day. You can have it recorded. Um, I will give you a link where you can click on it if you just want to have these notes and store them in your drive. Okay, we're going to talk about how to interpret information from maps, charts, and graphs. The Texas Learning Standard is 19C. 19C tells us, and this is our objective, students need to organize and interpret information from outlines, reports, databases, and visuals, including graphs, charts, timelines, and maps. We're going to focus on these last four things. Okay, so what do you need to be able to do? You need to be able to look at a map, chart, or graph and understand what it's telling you. It's as simple as that. Let's look at some of the graphs you're likely to use over the course of studying world cultures this year. Climograph. This is one of your vocabulary words, so you should already have an idea about it. From the words climate and graph, the climograph tells us two things about a place. Two. One, it tells us the average temperature. And two, the average precipitation. That's rain and snow. Okay, here's a sample. This is a climograph. Not all climographs look exactly like this, but these are the main elements that you'll always see. There's a temperature graph. How do I know that's temperature? I use my legend or my map key or my chart key. Red line with a dot in it is temperature. And so, now this is in Celsius. If I gave you one, I would probably use Fahrenheit. But this says that this place that we're in, it doesn't give us the name of the place. Sometimes it will. But it averages temperatures in the 20 to 30 degrees range. Off the top of my head, I don't know what that is, but that's probably 60 to 70 degrees, somewhere around there. I know 40 is like 110. It's really hot. Okay. And then the second thing, the green bar. So the red line shows the temperature over a 12-month period of time. And that's important too, because climographs are always asking you to look at the months involved, January, February, March. So if I said, okay, what 3 months have the most precipitation, you'd say, oh, precipitation, that's my bar here. And I'm going to look at the most. I'm going to look at my tallest lines. So I'd say, July, August, and September. They have the most precipitation. Okay. If I said which month of the year gets the highest temperature, you could look and say, okay, it looks like this is the highest. This is May. Okay. That's how we use a climograph. Okay. Here's a pie chart, also known as a pie graph. I picked this one out because it was made by a student. I liked it. A pie chart starts with a circle. And that's why we call it a pie. The pie is then cut into pieces. Each piece represents a percentage. We're always talking about 100%. So if you wanted to know how many people in the class are boys and how many people are girls, then you're only going to have these two, and one, say 51% were girls and 49% were boys. Then the pie would be shaped just slightly off. It would be not quite half, a little bit over half would be one color, and then the other color would be that. In this case, a young lady has she's decided to graph how people have greeted her and told her happy birthday. Some people told her by Snapchat. That was this number here. Twitter, this number here. Notice there's no numbers on it, so you only have just a vague idea. If it said out of 100 students, usually the graph will have numbers in here, and you can tell. Okay, I just thought that was a cute one. Pictographs, or AKA, also known as pictograms. A pictogram gives you information using images. The images don't have to be exactly like the things being described, but they usually are, as you can see from this one. It's about fruit, and so they used the actual fruit image. Someone collected fruit, and the chart tells how many pieces of fruit they collected. We know that because it says up here. In this case, they collected 4 of everything. So pictograms are kind of nice because you could usually count and that will tell you the answer. Sometimes, though, you might see something like if it said down at the bottom, 1 piece of fruit equals 10, or 1 picture equals 10 pieces of fruit, then I would say, okay, then there were 40 bananas collected, 40 apples. And this slide is making me hungry, I said. Okay, timelines. Now, I don't want you to get too concerned with this big messy thing here or this messy thing over here. These are just examples. Most of us have seen timelines before. A timeline can be used for any period of history. You can make or use a timeline that spans the beginning of history, or you can make a timeline for how you spent last Saturday. Okay, so some timelines are long and complicated. We try not to use them so much in 6th grade. That's this one. Timelines can use pictures. You can be very creative when you make a timeline. Sometimes simple is best. This timeline uses a simple straight line with small lines stemming off of it to show events. This is a historical timeline. And notice here I said showing something boring. Okay. 1860, the board begins inquiry into building a new structure. And then it goes on 62, 64, 67, this happened. In 1891, this happened. Pretty boring stuff. But, a lot of the timelines we look at will be more interesting than that. Okay, to make a timeline, you need a main line. You need lines that stem off of your main line, like this. They can be straight up and down. They can be directional, like this. Some history or events, for example, woke up 7 a.m., fed the dog 7:30, ate breakfast, etc. You don't need to include a key or a legend, but it may be helpful if you use symbols or things that the reader won't understand. 4 things that the reader won't understand. My sample timeline is below. So I've got 7 a.m., woke up. 7:30, fed the dog. 8 a.m., right here, walked to school. Oops, let's go back. And 9:30, got an A on my social studies quiz. Yay, good job. Okay, that's all. So we got graphs and timelines. Now we are going to look a little bit at maps. In this topic, we will study 2 types of maps. 2. 1 political maps and 2 physical maps. There is another kind, by the way, but that's going to be in another video. Okay? There's 3 kinds that we're looking at overall, but we're studying just 2 today. Political maps. This is a map that shows the boundaries on a map created by humans, such as different countries, states, and city lines. A political map can also show counties in U.S. states. The key here is they're human-made. If the map is just showing you things that already exist in nature, that's probably not a political map. Okay. Now, we have to be clever sometimes. The smaller arrows here are pointing to straight lines. These were clearly designed by humans. This is the map of Texas, and they went out with a surveying tool. I can't explain to you how that's done because I don't know, but that is how it's done. And they make these straight lines, okay? Then all of a sudden they get here, and now this line is really curvy. Looks like a river. So the large green arrow on the map is pointing to the boundary formed by the Red River between Texas and Oklahoma. Because this is a river, it is not human-made. So can this be a man-made boundary on a political map? Think about it. The answer is yes. Even though the river is not man-made, it was humans who decided that the river would serve as the boundary between the 2 states. So that's what would make it a political map with human-made boundaries. Sometimes humans will use a natural feature to make a boundary. Okay, colors on political maps. Look at the map of Europe. What do the colors represent? Give you a little time to think here. Okay. If you said nations or countries, you are correct. When you look at a map, ask yourself, what does the author want me to know? In this case, the author wants me to know where the countries of Europe are. Not necessarily rivers or anything like that or mountains, but just the countries themselves, the man-made boundaries. Okay. In this case, the author uses color to help you more easily identify these, because you won't always see color. Okay, but not all political maps use colors to represent countries. Take a look at this map. How does the author of this map expect you to tell the different countries? All the colors are the same. How does he expect you to know that? Okay, if you said orange boundary lines or names, you're correct. Both are correct. The author wants you to know what are the different countries in Africa, but does not use different colors to show it. It's still a political map. Physical map. A physical map is one that shows the physical features of a place, such as landforms, bodies of water. What do the colors mean on this map? Hint, check the map key. Here's my key. 2000M is this brown. Zeros right here. Okay. The colors represent elevation. The light brown colors are higher elevations and the green colors are lower elevations. People do not make up elevation. Those things exist in nature. This is very low ground, close to the sea. These other colors are higher up, more mountainous. Okay. Now, can a map be both types, political and physical? Absolutely yes. A map can be both a political map and a physical map. This map shows us boundaries, human-made boundaries, using black lines with intermittent dots. If you could follow my cursor, you see these lines. These are human-made. They might follow a river or something, but not necessarily. They've been decided by humans. Okay, the colors are showing us physical features such as water and elevation. The green is very low. This is a little bit higher. This is a little bit higher. And these are actually pretty mountainous right here. Okay, so it is a map that's telling us both. And just so you realize it, yes, the Africa map is telling us both as well. The little bumps show us mountains, and of course it's got rivers on it. Okay, that means we're done for the day. So thank you for listening, Mustangs. You're now going to do your exercise. Peace out.